All right, and there you have it, my friends. In the next hour, I want to talk about school uniforms and pipsqueaks, and I also want to talk about a situation whereby David Horsey, the columnist for the PI, is really in hot water with a bunch of Catholics for one of the finest, most sensitive, most thoughtful, most insightful political cartoons I've ever seen in my life. And they're coming after him for it. My. That's coming up. But now the news at King 1090. It's 1 o'clock, everybody. I'm Rick Miller.
Don't get stuck in the right-wing rut. News Talk with balance and variety. KING Seattle.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Linda Moore. There are nearly 100 public schools in Seattle, and all have been given the go-ahead to adopt dress codes or require uniforms in a move to cut down on gang-related violence and clothing theft. Thumbs up from Seattle parent Chris Ryder.
Eliminates a lot of peer pressure and problems that I think kids have in public schools.
A new Gallup poll of adults finds most feel violence and poor discipline are the biggest problems facing public schools. Looking for an affordable college or university offering quality education, Money Magazine is out with its annual survey. ABC's Richard Davies reports.
The winner is New College of the University of South Florida. Why?
One thing about this college that makes it a great deal is that charges a very low tuition.
Leslie Alderman of Money Magazine says students also get lots of personal attention.
Classes tend to be small. They get a lot of one-on-one contact with faculty, and students have a lot of input into their curriculum.
But the top 10 colleges for value are not necessarily America's top colleges for teaching.
We're not saying these are the best schools academically or the cheapest schools, but we're saying that they actually represent the best value.
Rice University in Houston placed second. New Jersey's Trenton State College was third. Now this.
Hey, look at these pictures. Now who's smarter? This woman went to Sears Brand Central. This guy spends his money on leisure suits.
Are you serious? The Sears woman.
Right. Smart people go to Sears. Through Saturday during Sears Anniversary Sale, everything's on sale. All major appliances, all electronics, and all home office equipment, it's all on sale at Sears Brand Central.
Pretty smart.
So who's smarter? This woman who went to Sears or this guy who cracked the genetic code?
That's up for grabs.
We designed the new Chevrolet Monte Carlo to be your own personal space. We wanted it to be a place where you'd feel comfortable, relaxed, in control. And of course, we wanted Monte Carlo to be a place where you'd feel secure. That's why every new Monte Carlo has dual front airbags and four-wheel anti-lock brakes as standard equipment. Because to us, your own personal space should be one of the safest places you can imagine. Introducing the new Monte Carlo. It's genuine Chevrolet.
King News Talk 1090 Midday News Update.
Good afternoon, it's 1:02. I'm Bill Polish in the King 1090 News Center. The funeral is this afternoon for Mika Willingham. He's a high school cheerleader stabbed to death in Tacoma last week. Some of her friends gathered today say they're shocked, absolutely shocked that she's gone.
If I could take my soul and replace it with hers, I would, but I can't. She's gone. I never got to say goodbye to her or tell her how much I loved her.
A former family friend has been charged with murder in that case. Mika Willingham was stabbed about 56 times. She'll be buried today in her high school cheerleader uniform. The Washington State Lotto has even brought money to people who never bought a ticket. King 1090's Alan Ray has that story.
The state lottery has a debt collection program. It's taken in nearly $400,000 in the last 8 years in lottery winnings, taken money from the winners to pay people or agencies who were owed money by the winners. Anybody who wins a prize worth more than $600 must provide the lottery with a Social Security number. That number then is compared with computerized lists of people who owe the state money. And the match has turned up some real deadbeats. More than $263,000 has been recovered just from people who were arrears in child support payments. Another $48,000 goes to compensate the state for overpayment of unemployment benefits. Alan Ray, King News Talk, 1090.
And a trial date has been set for April 10th in a Seattle reporter's lawsuit charging false arrest when he was trying to cover Bill Gates' wedding back in Hawaii in January. Scott Rensberger of Cairo Television says the Lanai Company's security chief had him arrested for trespassing while he was on a public road on the small Hawaiian island of Lanai. And that, of course, happened back on January 1st when Gates tied the knot. Back with a look at traffic and weather together right after this.
Been around the world, seen everything twice. So if you're packing your bags, take my advice. Northwest gonna treat you like a king. You'll be flying high. Yeah, take it from BB. Cause some people just know how to fly.
And some people just know how to save with our low Northwest fares. Now, through August 26th, Northwest is offering great values on destinations in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. Travel between August 28th and December 14th, 1994. A 14-day advance purchase, certain restrictions, and some blackout dates may apply. For reservations, call your travel agent or Northwest at 1-800-225-2525. With fares this low, you can only go up.
Listen to Lucille now. Some people just know how to fly, yeah.
Time to check traffic now. Here's Janet Ryan with the King 1090 All-Day Traffic Watch.
There's an injury accident in the median near 164th affecting both directions of I-5. People are just taking a little bit of a look, so that might slow you down a bit. Also, North 5, North Federal Way area, approaching 272nd, stalled semi reported there in the right lane. This traffic report is service of Riapan Plus Double Strength, a strong antacid that's sodium-free in liquid and tablets. Use as directed. King 1090 weather, at least partly sunny this afternoon, highs in the mid-70s. It's 106, and that's traffic and weather together on King News Talk 1090.
And right now we're at 70 degrees with some high, thin clouds being reported at Boeing Field. I'm Bill Polish in the King 1090 News Center.
He's controversial, opinionated, and unforgettable. Middays with Rick Miller on King News Talk 1090.
All right, is it Friday yet? Are we having fun yet? Better yet. We're going to have a lot of fun in the last 2 hours. I know the first hour was heavy going. Today is such a wildly great day in history. When you have a wildly great day in history in which liberty, fraternity, and egalitarianism, elegance, whatever, vive la, coupled with the greatest national anthem of all time, when you have both of those things going for you at the same time, if you can't have a fun, exciting show, man, you better deport yourself to Cuba in disgrace, I'll tell you that. 50 years ago, August 25th, 1944, wild celebrations ensued as Paris was liberated by Allied forces after 4 years of those stinking Nazis. German Major General Dietrich von Schiltitz surrendered to French Brigadier General Jacques-Philippe Leclerc without carrying out Hitler's order to level the French capital. Boy, that was lucky, wasn't it? I wonder why this German Nazi leader, Major General, I wonder why he didn't follow Hitler's orders. Does anybody know the answer to that question? Why didn't he follow his instructions? I mean, I'd be curious to know why he didn't. I want you to level Paris, and this general took it upon himself not to. I mean, I'm telling you, maybe he had his own private devils tormenting him. I have no idea.
All the gin joints in all the towns in all the world. She walks into mine.
Might have been an affair of the heart for all I know. There's no telling. All right. Boy, here's an idea whose time has come. I can't imagine anybody being against this suggestion.
Right you are, Sir Rick. What an honor it is to work with such a bright fellow.
Well, I haven't, William's my manservant. I haven't even given my opinion yet, and you're already applauding it. I think that is remarkable. I think that's very nice. School uniforms is an idea whose time has come, my friends. I can't imagine an argument against this. And do we ever have some saps attempting to do so? Now, just in any wild chance that you don't know what I'm talking about, the Seattle School Board yesterday, of course, note the timing here. School starts in about 5 minutes, and the Seattle School Board, this bunch of ninnies, comes up with this directive or this guideline a month before school starts, or even less than that, really. What is it, a couple of weeks until school starts? Anyway, it's a good idea. Seattle School Board yesterday approved a resolution that encourages, that's the word, encourages the district's nearly 100 schools to adopt dress codes and require students to wear unis. Boy, am I for that. It was a 5-2 vote. A little bit later, I will identify the two against. I will identify the two against and tell you their reasons. But I think you better have a barf bag handy when you hear them. The encouragement to support schools to create dress requirements as a way of thwarting gang violence, clothing thefts, and peer pressure. Oh, will it work? You bet. Of course it'll work. It'll work in all those things, and you know what? It'll give the poor parents a break too. You know what's heartbreaking? Just imagine this heartbreak. You're a parent and you love your kids, but you're poor. And there is nothing more that you would love to do than to give your sweet daughter this dress, or your sweet son this outfit, and you can't. You want to, it's killing you, but you can't because you haven't got any money. You can't afford it, pure and simple. You know what? I feel for parents like that, and I think this is a wonderful aid to them for their own self-esteem and happiness, and oh, it's a great idea. It's a fabulous idea. Dress rules will... Now, how do you like this? Here's trouble already, though, thanks to the ninnies of Seattle. In Seattle, dress rules will be left up to individual schools. You get to make your own choice. Schools would also be able to set up their own timetables. Instead of a directive from one strong man like me, they say, well, do what you want. Oh, brother. Well, you know, these limp wrists aren't going to do anything. You know, these social engineers, these political correct people, oh, no, we can't do that. So they'll do nothing. That's because the school administration so many times is in the hand of wimpolas. I'm just suggesting that we send the message. We don't want to dictate to them. That's what board member Don Nielsen said. He's the resolution's author. Well, I'm for that, but I don't like this idea of suggesting a message. I think you should dictate to them. He said that gang colors and clothing were detrimental to education. Well, who would, in the sound of my voice, who would deny that? That gang colors and clothing are detrimental to education? You know, when I went running at Chief Sealth High School, and I saw that kid wearing a stocking cap in the classroom, I couldn't believe it. I almost fainted. I swooned. A stocking cap in class? Off with your hat! Off with your hat immediately. Oh, brother. He speculated that parents may even choose schools that have dress codes. My opinion is shared by many. Discipline can be enhanced by standards of dress. Well, I agree with that totally. Another board member said students often act the way they are dressed. And now we have the ninnies. Let's hear it for the ninnies. Let's hear it for the doggone ninnies. I'm sure that I have something to say about the ninnies that absolutely drives me up a wall. Why do there have to be ninnies in every walk of life, including on the school board? Let's have a drum roll. All right, we had a nice drum roll to bring on the first ninny, who happens to be board member Al Sugiyama. He criticized the proposal for its short-sightedness, did Al Sugiyama, saying that students' dress was only one of many factors affecting their behavior. Sugiyama said that dress codes have been used in the past, listen, to infringe upon a person's rights. He cited old Seattle codes that outlawed pants for girls and overalls for boys. There's nothing to say that couldn't happen again. Oh, Mr. Sugiyama, I am just disgusted with that analysis, and when it comes your turn to run, I hope that you find another occupation.
What is this crap?
Al Sugiyama, we have left messages for him. because we would like to challenge him on the air to back up this preposterous statement about how short-sighted dress uniforms are. And then, of course, we have Jan Shelgren, who also voted against the resolution. Shelgren said that parents who have bought... Listen to this one. This is the worst excuse or explanation or rationale that I have ever heard to be against something in my entire life. This is the worst. On any subject, this is the worst. Listen, Jan Shelgren, who we also have calls in because we'd like her to defend this nonsense. She said that parents who have bought expensive clothing for their children, such as starter jackets that cost upward of $200, might be angry if their school were to ban the starter jackets without warning. Oh, isn't that something? We're going to worry. I mean, I wonder if... And this is a school, a board member. This is a school board member demonstrating these thought processes. I wonder if Jan Shelgren has ever... Well, she's on the school board, so she probably is aware that school lasts X number of hours per day. Let's say, 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock, whatever it is. And then before school and after school, by golly, some real wild kids with starter jackets, by golly, they could just put them on. And you know what? They'd have the weekends and vacations and holidays. Why, they might even be able to justify a $200 starter jacket. You know what infuriates me about this? It infuriates me that a member of the school board, Jan Shelgren, can say something so nonsensical. Jan Shelgren, if you're listening, call. Defend this. Please. Your objection is even worse than Al Sugiyama's, and Al Sugiyama's isn't worth a pound of spit either. People have filled up the lines in. Some of them have deserted after 3 minutes. You can fill up the lines again at 441-5464 in Seattle and 1-800-833-5464 throughout the state. The best idea, an idea whose time has come. It should sweep the nation. Uniforms for every kid, period. And that's that. Cellular One caller is also toll-free at star 1090. It's 116 at King 1090.
Rick Miller on King News Talk 1090.
I'm here at the Sleep Country Warehouse with Sonny Covey Cook, president of Sleep Country USA. Sonny, what are you doing with those mattresses?
I'm trying to show you that...
Hang on, let me give you a hand.
Phew, thanks. I wanted to ask, can you tell the difference between these two mattresses, the 94 and the new 95 Beauty Rest?
Well, they feel the same, but the 95 is a different color.
You're right, and that's about it. The 95s have arrived, and we've got to clear out all the 94s.
They're on sale just because the factory changed the color?
You're right. That and the price. So unless you're picky about color...
Not me.
You'll find huge savings. Every discontinued 94 mattress is closeout price at Sleep Country USA. Plus, pay no interest for 6 months. See store for details. And don't forget, we offer next-day delivery and recycle your old mattress to charity.
But when they're gone, they're gone.
Sleep Country USA. Why buy a mattress anywhere else?
13 stores, including Lakewood outside Lakewood Mall across from Irvin's, Kirkland, and Totem Hill Plaza overlooking Fred Meyer.
Great summer times from Visa. There's an island getaway that you won't find in the middle of an ocean, but right here in Middle America. The island is Mackinac, home of Michigan's Grand Hotel, where the only cars are the four-legged variety and the smell of homemade fudge fills the air. So leave your worries on the mainland and bring your Visa card, because at the Grand Hotel they'll pick you up in a horse-drawn carriage, but they won't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
News Talk with a variety of topics that mean something to you. King News Talk 1090.
Wait a minute. Sean, I thought we were... This is Metallica. I thought today was the Kinks Day. What the heck's going on here, John? All right. Not really. The Kinks Day.
You really got me going. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, my friend. We're going the show because the Kinks are one of the four great bands out of the 60s. We got your Rolling Stones. We got your Beatles. We got your Who. We got the Who. And we got the Kinks. Oh, up with that, Sean. Bring it in. Nothing but the best, my friend. Nothing but the best on the Eric Feather Show. To the calls we go. Win in Olympia. You're on King 1090.
Hey, Rick, what's happening?
Pretty good, Win.
First of all, on the Paris thing, there's a book out written about, I think, late 60s, early 70s called Is Paris Burning that describes all this stuff. I read it a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that was a movie, too, I think.
Yeah.
You know what?
Be able to find it in the library, but I forget. I read it, but I forget. You know, it's been a long time.
But, you know, bless your heart, because I'm going to rent that movie now. I think that stars Peter O'Toole, one of the great actors of all time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm interested in the question. Fantastic. Thanks for telling me.
Now, the school uniform. I'm ambivalent.
Yeah?
My future stepdaughter goes to a Catholic school, and she has to wear a uniform. The guys and the gals wear a uniform. It's a real small school.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the colors they chose were red.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Red checkered dress, red sweater for the girls. Now you go to school in Seattle and decide the colors are red. You know.
Yeah. Okay, so your objection there is that you've picked a uniform color that is only going to be useful for that one thing, and it's going to be offensive to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, it's ridiculous that you're going to have a uniform, for God's sakes. Don't make it some garish color that only an individualist would wear. That's crazy.
Well, I'm not saying. Well, the other thing too is that you do have the gangs who like certain color. So if you got a kid walking home with his red clothes on, walking through a part of the town where the gangs wear red, he's gonna Of course, they'll probably choose black and white, which is fine.
Well, look, I went to a Catholic grade school and high school, and in grade school we had a uniform. It was salt and pepper cords, either a blue or a white shirt, and a navy blue sweater. And the girls had, instead of salt and pepper cords, they had a navy blue sweater and shirt, a sweater and skirt. So what's wrong with something like that?
Well, like I said, I'm kind of ambivalent. I think what really got to me, I saw the story on the news a couple of nights ago.
Yeah.
The guy that really got to me was the guy that said what clothes the students wear, will have an effect on their behavior. I'm a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
And kids wearing really nice clothes, not starter jackets or stocking caps or whatever you want to call it, get into probably as much trouble as the kids who wear the other stuff. So that argument to me is really.
This is not a matter of who gets into the most trouble. It's just like assault weapons. It's a matter of perception. Quality of life says that you don't need to have people wearing clothes clothes that are very unsettling to other people, such as flying gang colors and letting your pants go all the way down to your knees and stuff like that.
Yes, I've had experience with the...
God, can you imagine? I saw a kid yesterday. He was walking, his pants were all the way, I swear to God, the waist was practically down to his knees. It looked terribly uncomfortable.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. And the argument, I was in a classroom last year, and the argument was that it was offensive, that wearing, clothes that might fall down to your knees is going to upset somebody. I agree with that.
Well, it scares people because there's a quote right here in the story. A little girl, 16-year-old, says, "I don't know that they're gang members or not. It worries me." I think that's a legitimate concern.
But I'm still kind of, I guess my ambivalence, and I've gone over and over this with my fiance.
Yeah.
This is not...
Do you make her wear a uniform?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's good.
Do I do what?
Do you make her wear a uniform?
She can wear whatever the hell she wants.
Oh.
No, we've had the argument, she's talked about what you talked about, the poor kids not being able to have the kind of clothes that rich kids can have. And I see that. I guess I'm coming from
the what?
Individuality part of it.
You can be an individual all kinds of places. You don't have to be an individual in that way. And as a matter of fact, kids at that age have no interest in being individuals anyway. All they care about is conforming to peer pressure. So let's make it real simple. Everybody in salt and pepper cords, and that's that. And then they don't have to worry about being individuals. Nobody wants to be an individual at that age anyway. And besides that, if they're worried about being an individual, I think there's some other ways that are a little more important than what color pants they wear.
Yeah, and plus, you're talking about the poor kid. I know a kid, smart as a whip, but because he couldn't afford the good clothes, he was put in all the remedial classes.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I really upset me because this guy was a whiz at science. And because his parents were poor and he came to school and
all right.
dirty clothes and
I
stuff.
want to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Do you mind?
No.
Can you guess what the question is?
Not offhand.
It seems to me that you may have a slight stutter.
Yes, I do.
And yet you're calling a talk show.
Yes, sir.
Does it make you nervous to call a talk show when you have that problem?
No, because...
Good for you.
Huh?
Good for you.
No, I mean, like I told students, the first thing I do when I get into a classroom is I tell the students about this.
Yeah?
And I tell students, I've told some students before that when I was in junior high school, I could barely talk, and if anybody said that I was going to be a teacher when I was in junior high school, I would have told them they were nuts.
Yeah.
And so, no, it's not a problem whatsoever.
And so you just meet it head on.
Of course.
Good for you.
Of course.
That is just wonderful. Did I make you nervous? Because, my tendency is to try and get people to get to their point real fast, and I think possibly that could make someone who stutters a little bit nervous because I'm making you go faster than you want to go.
Well, no, because I've listened to your show off and on, so I know how much you like people to get to the point. So I was making an effort to get to the point as fast as I could, but being as ambivalent as I am about this thing, is getting to a certain point is a little bit difficult.
Well, you know something, when you have my overwhelming regard and respect, I love it when people do something that obviously is going to present a specific problem to them. And for a person who has a little bit of a stuttering problem to call a radio talk show, I think is a very heroic act. I applaud you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Win.
Have a good one, Rick.
You too, Win. You too, Win. Of course, I have a good friend named Denny Moreland, stutters. Some people don't think I'm very polite because he comes up, and he starts, I said, Denny, make it snappy. I haven't got all day. I wanted to tell you a story, and I start looking at my watch, and I start falling asleep. And his wife told me, you know what his wife told me? She says, you're the only one that gets away with that with him. She said, if no one else would dare to do that, everyone basically tiptoes around him except me. And I tell him to make it snappy. I say, Denny, if you want to say something to me, make it snappy. Get started right now. And that just gets him even more shook up. He gets red in the face, and off he goes, starts running. Oh, my. Rick, you and sensitivity, maybe you could be a different kind of a sensitivity trainer, one that more or less goes in your face. Alex in Mercer Island, you're on King 1090.
Hey.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, hey, Alex, I'm fine. How are you doing? By the way, I don't engage in those empty phrases.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Now, you're 14 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not holding that against you, though, Alex.
Okay.
What do you want to say?
Well, I want to say, I'm going to be a freshman next year, going up in the high school.
Good.
Blocks away.
Good.
And I just can't, I couldn't stand the fact of wearing uniforms. It sort of gives like a military-like thing. I'm not all the way through. It's more disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know schools are supposed to be disciplined, like hats off and all that stuff, like you were saying. But it's just, I like to wear what I wear. If I want to wear pants that go to my knees, that's what I wear.
Oh, no. If you do that, you should have to go to school in Cuba.
Yeah, well, I don't wear those stuff. But
now, see, Alex.
But still, I'm trying to get a point here.
Oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like I'm like a couple weeks ago, I bought a good pair of hiking boots here. If I want to wear those into school, hey, no one should have a problem with that,
Well, maybe if the hiking boots are a part of your school dress code, fine. Let me tell you, my young friend, that uniforms are meant to be militaristic, and you are not supposed to like them. It doesn't matter whether you like them. See, it does not matter one iota whether you like the uniforms or not.
Yeah, well, I just like to have some self-freedom, or I don't know what to call it.
You want to have some freedom and individuality, but Alex, why can't you express your freedom and individuality in other ways?
Well, I don't know.
It's just what? Now, for an example, if all you're concerned about is freedom and individuality, I can tell you a way to express that every single day. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, sure.
It's real simple. Just walk down the street picking your nose. People, especially down the halls in school, people will notice immediately. Scratch your butt. People will notice. And you'll be individual. They say, look, here comes Alex the butt scratcher. Did you know that, Alex? I'm offering you solutions. Are you pleased?
Yeah. Another reason why a lot of people don't like... Another reason why a lot of people don't like...
Yes.
Those uniforms is because, other people are wearing, he's wearing those Reebok shirts, so I got to get one. That kind of thing. Sort of like peer pressure, I don't know, clicks, that kind of stuff.
So we don't want that. We want to get rid of that.
But I don't see how that interferes with the school besides gang stuff.
Well, it does because maybe everyone, I know that you live in Mercer Island, Alex, which means you probably are loaded, but maybe some people can't afford the Reeboks, and so why should they be made to feel bad? Take my advice. Become known as Alex the Nose Picker or Alex the Butt Scratcher. You get a lot of mileage out of my young friend. 129 at King 1090.
Perhaps there's a stranger in your house, and you didn't even realize it. You bought another kind of stuffing other than stovetop stuffing. You thought it'd be the same. It was in a red and yellow box. But you made it, and something's just not right. The breadcrumbs are suspect, and there's no evidence of the herbs and spices you love so much. And then your family tastes it, and they're looking for the perpetrator.
When it comes to stuffing, there's no substitute for stovetop.
Making anything else would be a crime.
Hi, I'm Jerry Kay.
And I'm Gina Smith, and we're hosts of On Computers, America's #1 high-tech talk show.
Hey, Gina, we have a rule, though, on the program.
What is it?
We'll take any question.
Any question, no matter
Absolutely.
how dumb or how...
America Online, so you can join a live chat. That's On Computers, Sunday afternoon at 4 on King. News Talk, 1090.
King News Talk 1090 Midday News Update.
Good afternoon. It's 1:31. I'm Bill Polish in the King 1090 News Center. The Senate is getting ready to vote on the crime bill. In fact, vote going on now. Utah Senator Orrin Hatch explains why he still is violently opposed to that bill.
There are a lot of us who are just plain sick of trying to stop this gravy-sucking hog called the federal government and its liberal friends from eating us alive.
Washington's two senators are split on that bill. Patty Murray says she'll vote yes. Slade Gorton says he'll vote no.
Outrageous, out loud. Spend more of your midday with Rick Miller on King News Talk 1090.
136 at King 1090. Let me just tell you what happens in the wonderful world of radio when you're really, really, really on the ball, loaded for bear and ready for love. The Senate is going to be taking a vote on the crime bill. And it's going to be close. And we're going to monitor the situation. And if we think it's real interesting and real important, you know what we're going to do? We're going to cut right in on the dramatics of it. And if it's just a bunch of persiflage, we'll just give you the result. You'll have to trust our news judgment and our nudes judgment. We're pretty good at both. And just another reason, another benefit of listening to the Rick Miller Show. Somebody just dropped off, but then again, it's too late because somebody already joined up. Joyce in Linder National District, you're on King 1090.
Hi, Rick.
Hi, Joyce.
My one concern about the school uniform would be if the poor or marginal student who's on the verge of dropping out would, decide that he doesn't like the uniform that was picked, and that would be the thing that would...
Oh, Joyce, if you let... I'm telling you, there's a mentality here that really worries me. Not you, but there's a general mentality that worries me. The answer to that is really quite simple. If his grasp, if his commitment to school is so tenuous that something like that topples it, it was going to happen anyway. So the lesson to be learned is one must never compromise important things because you might lose a few around the edges.
Well, I think keeping a kid in school is more important than whether a student feels that what someone else is wearing is threatening them.
Well, let me see if I'm following your logic. How many students would have to drop out of school because of the uniform for you to say abandon the uniform?
Well, I don't know how many. I'm just saying that this could happen.
One?
Well, there will probably be more than one student.
Well, how many would it take? 1, 5, 10, 3,752? How many? The answer is it doesn't matter. The correct answer is it doesn't matter at all. You have a uniform.
If 500 students dropped out because of the uniform, it wouldn't matter?
That's right, because the 500 students would have dropped out. They would have found another excuse. Don't you understand? These are just rationalizing their excuses. They're meaningless. They're just looking for a way out, and this is the handiest one at the moment. You can never kowtow to that. You can never give in to that, because that puts them in charge, and they are in charge of their own weaknesses then.
Well, I think a lot of people do express their personalities, not necessarily individuality, through what they wear. And, and if you don't give a person who wants to express themselves, like a shy student who may feel that he wants to come out of that shyness through dressing.
Why can't they do that after school, weekends, and holidays?
Well, for kids, school is the most important place, and that's where they're supposed to grow in school. So if you have shy students who are trying to be recognized or whatever.
Okay, but they can do that after and before and all that. That's my point, Joyce.
Well, I don't see it.
You don't agree with me, do you?
No, I don't.
Thank you, my dear Joyce.
You're welcome.
Sean, let's cut in on that. Can we do it now? Let's cut in on the Senate. I think they've reached a vote. Let's do it.
There are 2 more votes still to come. Those final votes expected later tonight, John.
Once again, the crucial hurdle on the crime bill in the Senate passing, Democrats getting 61 votes. 2 more votes expected later today before this crime bill is history in the Senate. For my colleague Rick Ratner up at the Capitol, I'm John Bascom, ABC News.
Well, my friends, we are nothing if we are not on the ball. There you have it, 61 yay and 39 nay. The crime bill goes forward in the Senate. It's 140 at King 1090.
Middays with Rick Miller on King News Talk 1090.
You've done everything you can to cut costs in your company, including making the move to self-insure. Now there's nothing left to cut, but there is a way to stretch the money you save by self-insuring. Just add a Sound Health network to your health insurance. You'll save up to 30% more without changing your procedures or benefit structure, and your employees still get to pick their doctor. Our networks have more than 70 hospitals and 8,000 providers to choose from. And because we negotiate special rates with our providers, you get lower and predictable rates year after year. You can save even more by adding our utilization review option. If you're self-insured or thinking about it, you may be able to save significantly with Sound Health and really stretch your savings. For more information, call 1-800-789-7761. Sound solutions to healthcare from Providence Health Plans.
Yes, could you push lobby for me, please?
Sure. You must be new to the building.
Oh, no, I don't live here. I'm just the elevator inspector.
Oh, is something wrong with the elevator?
No, just the annual inspection.
It's supposed to be state-of-the-art. That's why I moved into this building. I can't get stuck. I've got to get to the Bon Marché.
Believe me, ma'am, the elevator's perfectly fine.
Oh, good. You see, the Bon Marché has a special promotion on. A steel-on professional fry pan for only $14.99 after the rebate. We're talking cutting-edge cookware here.
Really?
Oh, yes, really. It's coated with DuPont Autograph, the world's most advanced nonstick. It's ceramic reinforced for a lifetime of gourmet cooking.
Gee.
I believe in going high-tech, don't you?
Oh, you bet. I mean, this elevator is a perfect example.
What happened?
Looks like it's stuck.
It's stuck? Well, can't you do something?
Sure.
Help! Help! Oh, we're trapped like rats!
Polishing my screenplay, Balzac and the Co-Eds, dry heave with the Huskies. I'm Rick Miller, King News Talk 1090. Well, we had some fish on the line there, and then they dropped off. Boy, you know, every now and then you hit the wall, and I seem to be hitting the wall on Friday today. But don't seem to be drumming up much interest in my stuff. I mean, I grant you that maybe the first hour was a little weak, was a little lame. But this hour is not lame. This is really good stuff. And I think there should be a galaxy of opinions on this, setting up as we do the difference between men and women, and whether it really is helpful to browbeat and darn near physically assault boys, and when they have the dry heaves to show no sympathy at all, and as a matter of fact to kind of say, well, I guess you can't cut it because you're so sickly, and whether all of that works out, and maybe that promotes brutism, bruti throughout the land. I mean, do you see all the possibilities? You see the endless possibilities? Plus, we have this, the temerity of a female of the opposite sex, in fact, two of them, even having an opinion about two-a-days. Males playing football. What right do these girls have? Why aren't they home baking cookies and crocheting? This is what I want to know. 441-5464 is the number in Seattle as we talk to Lois in Tacoma on King 1090. Yes, Lois? Yes,
Hello?
Lois? Oh, Lois, I'm sorry. We had a technical glitch, but we seem to have that cleared up now.
Good.
Go ahead.
This is a good hour, Rick.
Thank you. Go ahead. You're on the radio.
Okay. Well, I am calling because I'm a female triathlete.
Wow.
And I work out 2 and 3 times a day myself.
Gee.
And sometimes my boyfriend, who is a very strong cyclist, at the swim, bike, run event, will take me to task on some of our long rides. And I fully understand and respect the necessity of multiple workouts in order to get that quote-unquote competitive edge.
Yeah. Well, I agree. Now, listen, I'm terribly fascinated here. How long have you been a triathlete?
For 2 years.
Okay, tell the people quickly. A triathlete means you compete in 3 sports, 3 things, right? 3 events.
Sports.
Tell them what they are.
Swimming first.
For how far?
It will vary from a half a mile up to 2 miles for the Ironman, but I'm only up to a mile. Olympic distance.
How fast do you swim a mile?
I can swim a mile in 27 minutes.
Okay, I can swim a mile in about the same.
Good.
All right. What about, and now running?
No, then you transition to the bicycle.
Oh, excuse me. And how far do you ride?
And an Olympic distance is about 26 miles.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you transition again and put on your running shoes and run usually a 10K, which is 6.2.
Sure. And how fast do you run your miles?
My 10K?
Yeah.
My quickest 10K is 49 minutes.
Let's see, what does that work out to be, 7-minute miles?
Yes, that's my personal best.
Now tell me, Lois, this is very interesting. Is this your correct age? You're 45 years old?
Yes, I am.
Boy, that's true. Oh, you say that, you sound a little disappointed.
No, I'm happy about it.
Well, I'm good. Now listen, are you a big woman, a little woman, a medium-sized? Are you slender and skinny, or are you bulky? What are you?
Well, when I started, I was kind of a bulkarina.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of lean and mean.
You're lean and mean.
I'm about 119 pounds. I'm about 5'3".
Oh, brother. And are you hard as a rock?
Well.
I mean, do you have real visible muscles and all?
I'm fit. I'd say I'm okay.
You don't take steroids, do you?
No, definitely not. I like to work out in the gym, though, for toning and for preparing.
Well, I adore female athletes.
Thank you.
I just love female athletes. I think.
Well, I love your show, and I have, had to call in because you struck a real strong chord with me.
Well,
and I understand those guys out there. I know they're hating life, but it does give you a stronger mental capability when you go out to play on the big day, and it gives you that confidence that you really need.
Okay, what you're getting at here, this is wonderful. When you push yourself physically, I mean, even in my pipsqueak way when I'm running, I always make sure I challenge myself in push-ups or running or something every time I work out to do something that really almost makes me sick.
Yes.
Now, okay, so when you challenge yourself physically almost to the point of sickness, you think that you and I both seem to agree that there's a positive effect.
I do.
But what is that positive effect?
I think that because during training, if you can go beyond your wall, when you reach a certain point in the actual performance, then you'll recognize it and say, oh, I've been there, I can do this.
Okay, that helps you physically, but what about mentally?
Well, like I said, you say, okay, I can do it, so you have the confidence, you recognize the signals, and you understand your body because you have gone through it already. So you know kind of how to respond to what you need to do to either slow up a touch, not to go anaerobic, or you'll recognize you have to go harder or whatnot. I think it sharpens you mentally. Strengthens you.
Do you compete now? I mean, have you actually been in triathlons where you have your number and everything?
Yeah.
How have you done?
Well, I just did one on July 24th, and I won my age group. I'm happy to say.
Really?
I know. I'm real happy about that.
Now, Lois, I've never made this request before. Do you have a picture of yourself? A full body picture of yourself?
Yes.
I would love to receive it. I want to see what a 45-year-old female triathlete looks like in the way of muscle.
Okay.
Will you send it to me?
I will, because, when you're doing these things, your friends are out there clicking your pictures.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
I'd be happy to. I'd be flattered.
Why, Lois, and I will publicize you. By the way, where do you do your swimming?
I do my swimming at the Lakewood Y and at American Lake.
American Lake?
In Tacoma.
You mean you just dive into the lake?
I dive in once a week.
And swim along the shoreline?
I swim out to the particular buoys that I want to, which is usually about, it can be a half a mile out and back.
Okay, in other words, there's no motorboats out there?
Yes, there are.
Well, aren't you worried about that?
Well, I kind of am, but I go real early.
You go early enough, but are you're alone?
No, I usually will have a friend with me that will watch.
Somebody in a boat?
Somebody, sometimes they're in a boat, and sometimes they're just from shore kind of watching.
Oh, see, I'd be so scared, though, of somebody of a boat running over me. You know?
I know.
I had a friend that happened to.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, now you've got me scared.
Oh, really? And I didn't want to do that.
But I do go pretty early.
Yeah.
I usually go about 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because you have to squeeze in all of these trainings to get all 3 sport specifications correct.
Do you have a job?
There's a lot of time management.
Do you work?
Yes, I do.
So you get your training in and then you do your job as well?
That's correct.
Do you have any kids?
No.
Okay, so that you don't have to worry at least about that part of it.
No, thank God. And I don't know how they do it, the other lady triathletes.
All right, Lois.
I just love it.
Lois, I want to see a picture of you.
Okay.
Do you need to know where to send it?
Yes, I would imagine it's King Radio.
Stay right on the line, and Andrea will give you the address.
Okay.
Okay, stay right there. Andrea, get the address, will you please, of Lois in Tacoma, and we will take care of that. By the way, all the callers coming up except one. It's going to be all women except one. I think this is going to be... I knew this was going to be good. 128 at King 1090.
Western Pianos is having a special sale on Kawai pianos that are left over from the Cornish College sale. Each year, Kawai America must sell the Kawai pianos loaned to the Cornish College of the Arts and used by the school during the previous school year. Many were sold at the Cornish College sale, but there are still great values available on grands, consoles, uprights, and studios. All pianos sold include a full Kawai warranty. Special financing is is available, cash or terms. Visit any of Western Piano's 4 locations to see these Kawai pianos. In Bellevue, in Kelsey Creek Center at 148th and Main. In Tacoma's Rainier Place at West 38th and South Steel Streets. In Renton at 601 South 3rd. And in the North End at 911 North 145th, just west of Aurora.
The last stop on our trip was Scottsdale,
where the kids got to see rattlesnakes.
Golf 24 hours a day. To play this course, you had to
ride horses, meet Indians, touch a cactus
with a 9-iron.
I learned how to rope a calf on a real
Golf Pro with like a 2 handicap and
a big Appaloosa named Spot.
Just because you're traveling together doesn't mean you're always together. Checks for 2 from American Express. The traveler's checks that one of you buys, both of you sign, and either one can use.
Arizona was the best.
Checks for 2 from American Express. Don't leave home without them.
King News Talk 1090 Midday News Update.
Good afternoon. It's 1:30. I'm Bill Polish in the King 1090 News Center. President Clinton and Attorney General Janet Reno called up about a half dozen big city mayors today. They wanted to thank them for their support in getting the crime bill passed through Congress. And Seattle Mayor Norm Rice was one of those people.
We know that prevention and punishment and police and the ban on assault weapons brings about the security that's necessary for our communities.
Clinton and Rice both praised the bipartisan effort from the big city mayors to get that crime bill approved, saying they'd been talking about such a plan for at least 2 years. Well, there's no money to do anything other than dream right now, but the folks at the Seattle Aquarium are certainly doing that, and they're doing it big time. The story from King 1090's Jane Shannon.
The people who run the aquarium have come up with a $130 million plan to double the size of the facility to 200,000 square feet. The plan would turn the waterfront tourist attraction into one of the largest aquariums on the West Coast, rivaling San Francisco and Monterey. The financing is the question, and it likely would have to be creative. Aquarium Director Cindy Shiota says funding could come from a citywide bond issue, but would almost certainly have to include state, local, and private sector money as well. Jane Shannon, King News Talk 1090.
Another group with money on the mind, library backers in Seattle. They're trying to rally support for a $155 million bond proposal that'll show up on the November ballot. That money would pay for a new downtown library and improvements in branch libraries throughout the city. It's back to school time. Classes start Monday in Renton. Other districts begin next week, and more of them start after Labor Day. The State Office of Financial Management projects enrollment this school year will hit about 942,000, and that would be up about 3% from just a year ago. Good day on Wall Street. The Dow closed up about 51 points, and the Northwest 50 stock index closed up higher, 24.44 points for the week, a gain of 61 points. We'll take a look at traffic and weather together after this.
It has been raining for days. You're wondering if there's a how-to book on arc building. Suddenly, you look up and see the tropical green can of MJB Hawaiian Blend. Moments later, you pour yourself a cup. One sip of Hawaiian Blend and things start smoothing out. The rain now seems cozy instead of bleak. You imagine a million baby buds drinking up the precipitation until the whole world is swaddled in green. You fling open the kitchen door and envision yourself singing in the rain. You return to your senses, close the door, and pour yourself another cup of coffee.
If you'd like to experience smooth new MJB Hawaiian Blend, just MJB Hawaiian Blend. Enjoy the smoothness.
Ever wonder where the water in your bottled drinks comes from? Read labels. Drink Calistoga.
Better water, better drinks, Calistoga.
Calistoga sparkling mineral water and mountain spring water beverages.
Pure refreshment from the Napa Valley.
When your drink says Calistoga on the outside, you know the water on the inside is a gift of nature that comes from one place on earth, the upper Napa Valley town of Calistoga. That's true of Calistoga sparkling mineral water on its own, or in any one of 5 calorie-free natural fruit flavors, and of Calistoga sparkling mineral water and juice in all 8 of its flavors. And it's true of Calistoga mountain spring water from its source high atop the Napa Valley's Mount St. Helena. Stop wondering where the water in your bottled drinks comes from. Come to Calistoga.
Better water, better drinks, Calistoga. Better water, better drinks, Calistoga.
Read labels. Drink Calistoga.
Time to check out that commute, if there is one at this early hour. Here's Janet Ryan with the King 1090 All-Day Traffic Watch.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Northbound 5 north of 516, an accident in the HOV lane there, starting to slow approaching the scene. North 405 at 124th, another accident also blocking the roadway. North 5 approaching 516, approaching 512 rather, down in the Tacoma area. A semi-sized tarp in the roadway, and that's creating quite a hazard. Southbound 5 still slowing from Northgate to the Ship Canal Bridge due to earlier problems. Same with North 5, a little slow through the U District up to about Ravenna. King 1090 weather, sunny this afternoon, highs in the mid-70s. It's 1:35, and that's traffic and weather together on King News Talk 1090.
And right now in Everett, partly cloudy and 73. In Port Angeles, partly cloudy and 70 there. 74 at Boeing Field. That's the reading there this hour anyway. I'm Bill Polish in the King 1090 News Center.
50% of
outspoken, outrageous, out loud. Spend more of your midday with Rick Miller on King News Talk 1090.
135 at King 1090. I wasn't planning... Oh, people dropping off the line again. 441-5464 in Seattle. I wasn't planning on it being this way, but boy, a lot of commentary about women now. We're of course talking about maybe football practice, 2-a-day football practices and dry heaves and all, seen from the female point of view, the female perspective, although guys are certainly welcome to weigh in on this as well. And then we have two other happy occurrences revolving around women today. I mean, I find them quite remarkable. Number one, this day in history, August 26, 1920. The 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution was declared in effect. Of course, a lot of people think that that's when we could first say, there goes the whole neighborhood. That was the day, of course, that the guarantee was advanced to American women, giving them the right to vote. Then we have this fax from Brad in Bothell. You would think that Brad in Bothell would occasionally quit while he's behind. But no, he does not. Rick! Oh, he's evaluating my presentation of the women twofers in football, blah, blah, blah. Rick, you might get more play on this subject if you tied it to women in the military. This female attitude towards 2-a-day workouts in college football is illustrative of why most women do not belong in combat. Can you see it? Oh, can't we attack them tomorrow? I'm having a bad hair day. Well, Brad, all I can say is you have gone way too far on this. I disappeared his facts. I can't believe it. Cannot believe it. Hey, I have an idle question for you. The Little League World Series going on right now. Saudi Arabia finally gets knocked out of the Little League World Series by Venezuela. Why does Saudi Arabia have a player playing for them named John Schoenholtz, who appears to be white? Does not appear to be Arabic to me. This is the Saudi Arabian Little League team. What in the heck have we got Americans doing on it, or white kids? Why aren't they Arabs? Just an idle question. Karen in a car phone, you're on King 1090.
Hi, Rick.
Yes.
I'm a second-time caller. I called you a little while ago on the salary issue.
All right.
I'm the clothing salesman. Now, I think your analysis between football players and women is totally askewed. For number one, I think you should compare women athlete with men athlete, not men athletes with women in general. I think that if you took women that were athletic women and into their bodies and athletic women, they would stand up just as well to those football training practices as the men would.
You think so?
And also, I think that if you took men that did not play any sports and were not into the sports field at all, they would crack, just like you say, or whoever said that women would. They would break down and have the same responses that whoever said that the women would.
Well, who do you think would blubber the most when they had the dry heaves?
Well, I think women and men can blubber equally as well if they are not athletically inclined, or if they don't prescribe to that macho, athletic, got to prove themselves, athletically to the world. I think they would blubber the same.
See, that's really great. I have not yet said macho. I haven't invoked the word macho, nor have I introduced the idea of having to prove yourself. The fate of a man is to constantly feel he has to prove himself.
Well, it's the football mentality. It's the macho image, the hard-hitting, the strength that has to go with it. And I believe that women have that same sort of macho feeling.
Oh, no.
In athletic women do. They have that drive, that they want it, their physical prowess. That's important to them.
You know that triathlete that I just spoke to, that lovely woman?
Mm-hmm.
I will bet that she would not like to have the dry heaves. I forgot to ask her that.
Oh, well, no, I'm not saying that. No one would like to have the dry heaves, but in her training, don't you think she's pushed herself to that point and surpassed that point, as she was saying? I do believe I heard her say that she breaks through that wall. The mentality, I believe, is the same for men or women. If you compare apples to apples, athletic women to athletic men, non-athletic women to non-athletic men.
All right.
I'm saying that football players, can stand up to that, but women can't. It's totally an skewed comparison.
All right. Well, I have gotten your point, my dear Karen. However, I am clinging to the belief that if you got a room full of athletic women and athletic men, the men would be much more responsive to rock'em sock'em, hard-hitting, getting nauseated, dry heaves type stuff than the athletic women would. Why that is, I don't know. Is it good? I don't know. Does it kind of subtly suggest that men, in some ways at least, can be brutes, or to physically assail people that they disagree with in some way or shape or form? I don't know whether it does or not. But when I saw the classic difference between the writer of this article, a female, and Andrea DeCou, my producer, also a female, compared to what I, as a man, feel about this very same thing, I decided we were on to something big. 141 at King 1090.
Rick Miller on King News Talk 1090.
August is sizzling at Linwood Honda, and we have
melted down prices
on all remaining models. New 95s are arriving daily, and we've got to make room. So Linwood Honda is now giving the lowest lease payment available on any new Honda or late model used car. And listen to this. Linwood Honda offered a special interest rate last month that was so popular, we've extended it on all remaining 94s. Are you ready for 5.9% APR on approved credit? That's right, 5.9%, but only on new 94s and selected used cars. Just think of it, a new car. It's time to get excited about Linwood Honda. So hey, let's have a party, like a beach party. We'll have it on Sunday, August 28th, and we'll give away beach balls, Beach Boys t-shirts, and free tickets to the fabulous Beach Boys concert to the first 50 qualified buyers just for taking a test drive. Hey, there's no place to get a better buy on a Honda than Linwood Honda. 775-7575.
Linwood Honda, experience the difference.
And we're back with Car Phone Call In. You're in your car and on the air. What's your name and where the heck are you?
Hey, Bob, it's Dan.
Dan, what are you, a giant panda?
Come on, Bob, you know me, Dan, the pizza man.
Oh, Dan, sure, you got those cars that look like the giant pepperoni?
That's my problem, Bob. We're pretty rough out, a lot of short trips, stop and go driving. You think we need an engine treatment?
Yeah, if you're going to keep driving them that way, you do.
So, what do I need?
You need startup protection, Dan. You need Slick 50.
Slick 50? Yeah, I heard they were good.
Best-selling engine treatment you can buy. Cuts engine wear almost in half for 50,000 miles. Lab test proven. Now, what kind of topping you want?
topping.
Well, you got your basic Slick 50 automotive engine formula.
Yeah.
Then you got high-performance engine formula for people who push their cars a little harder.
Yeah.
And my personal favorite, new Slick 50 synthetic engine formula in a premium synthetic carrier oil.
Glad you have to say.
You get proven protection with all of them, Dan. It's strictly a matter of taste.
Wow, I'll take them all. Do you deliver?
Within a certain area, yeah.
Slick 50 products are available at Fred Meyer, Kmart, and Ace Hardware.
Now you can join King News Talk 1090 on the Information Superhighway. Talk with King 1090 hosts and management using your personal computer through America Online. Our address is simply King 1090. If you're a user of one of the many other online services, such as Prodigy or CompuServe, you can email King 1090 through the internet at king1090@aol.com. We'd love to hear your comments and suggestions on King 1090 programming, so get online with King 1090.
Solve your car problems. Listen to Auto Talk, Sunday night at 6, right here on King News Talk 1090.
Polishing my screenplay, Balzac, Walter Payton, and the co-eds play football until they suffer the dry heaves. I am a Rick Miller, King News Talk 1090. At that break there, when I'm trying to mind my own business, here comes over the intercom a voice I recognize as Andrea's. Rick, I think you're in deep denial. Oh, yeah? Yes. I think, said Andrea, that you would have cried on the football field if you thought it would be all right. Why would they have ever called me a pansy then? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. No, I never did want to cry on the football field, even when I was hurt. Oh, and I was hurt a lot. Oh, Lord, was I hurt a lot. Lots of terrible things. Broken noses, broken hands, mostly, never mind. But I never wanted to cry. In fact, I was just the opposite. So, Andrea, I'm afraid your psychoanalysis is failing miserably. Carol in Olympia, you're on King 1090. Yes, Carol?
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, Carol.
Oh, this is driving me crazy.
Why?
Well, so many things. It's really hard to pinpoint. I've been trying to figure this out.
Well, start with the most important thing to you.
Okay, the most important thing to me is that I teach high school, and I've taught high school. This will be my 22nd year.
Wow.
And, a couple of things. I'm athletic. I've always been athletic. I was a tomboy, as everybody identified me. Love sports. Love to watch professional football. Don't like what I see it doing to young boys. Their behavior, the way they treat others, the way they treat others that aren't as quote-unquote buff as they are. Other activities at school are not nearly as important as, and I'm focusing, I guess, on football as that sport. I mean, that is the ultimate. I see all too often big brute of football players treating girls badly, not having any respect for anyone else around them.
Now, this is quite a list here. You are a school teacher right now?
Yes, I am.
And this is what you're observing in your own high school?
You got it. And we have, I better not say that.
Well,
we're the number one football team in the state.
Gee, I wish I knew. Will you tell us what school that is?
Yeah, Tumwater High School.
Tumwater, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard of Tumwater.
Yeah, we've been to the King Bowl many times.
Now, Carol, are these observations you've made, are these your own subjective observations, or are there people that have reported these things to you and you've just added them into your own philosophy? In other words, are you pretty much alone in this opinion?
No. I'm not.
Can you give us an example of how a football player demonstrates his insensitivity and his ability to act intimidating and without thought for others, that sort of thing?
Boy, yeah.
Or is it just a general attitude?
No, well, and if I say all, I'm going to be in trouble.
Oh, no.
A large majority.
We all understand there.
Okay. Think that They are it. And they carry this air around with them. They look...
What air? What air do they carry?
This air of superiority.
How do they demonstrate their air of superiority?
By intimidating others in the classroom.
How do they intimidate?
By making fun of others in the classroom.
Literally? Literally?
Literally, by laughing about other clubs when other club activities are announced over the intercom.
Oh, gosh.
By not clapping or applauding when other groups are recognized. They laugh and think they're a bunch of wimps.
What a bunch of doofuses.
I know, it's just amazing.
Does the coach know about this?
The coaches, I think, are working really, really hard. I don't know. I mean, we have wonderful coaches. We have wonderful teachers at our school. I do not know where it is all coming from. But I'm seeing, and I started teaching in 1972, I'm seeing the product of kids, boys in athletics, being much more intimidating and much more brutal in their real lives outside the football team field than I have ever seen in my life.
All right, now this is quite a charge. This is very interesting. Now, are you talking about certain boys who, if you checked into their history, you'd find that they came from the wrong side of the tracks, that they came from very tough and brutal families and all that?
No.
In other words, you think that this is a general condition?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, are you sure about this? Because, I mean, in your own mind, because I can name, even back when I was playing ball, that there were certain guys that were just savage, and I knew them, and I knew why they were savage. Yeah. One of them got the hell beat out of him every day by his older brother.
Yeah. Now, I don't know backgrounds on a lot of these kids, but what I do know is that the effects that a group of them, and I hate to say them because I don't want to label it that way, but a group of players coming into your classroom in a hunk can do to the entire makeup of the classroom.
Are they physically big?
Yeah.
How big are high school players these days? How big are we talking about?
We're talking, we're certainly not talking as big as mid-college or, pro players, but we're talking good-sized kids.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, are we talking about 225, 230 pounds?
That would be the biggest.
That'd be the biggest.
That'd be the biggest, yeah.
Okay, so they're physically intimidating.
Yes, they are.
And they swagger about because
they
do.
And
okay, but athletes do that anyway.
Yeah.
That doesn't make them bad. Some of the best kids in the world swagger.
Maybe I'm missing my point. My concern is what are we teaching the kids when we scream at the boys and call them a bunch of babies or a bunch of girls if they feel hurt?
Yeah, you're right. That's one of the points I was trying to make in this.
Because isn't that what we don't want to do? Don't we want people to be able to say, yeah, I heard and it doesn't feel good?
No, not on the football field,
But why is that?
Well, because that's a great question. I'm not going to be able to give you a satisfactory answer, but I certainly wouldn't want to have any football player saying that it hurts and I don't like it. Yeah. I wouldn't want to have that guy on my team. I'd say, what a pansy.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're not against football, are you?
No. I'm against the inequity in the high schools.
But you're not somebody that has lurched into long polemics against football.
No.
Okay. No. Well, what an interesting call, Carol. I'm going to be watching Tumwater. Who's the biggest star on Tumwater's team this year? I want to watch them.
I don't know this year. Every year we have a new group of seniors. It doesn't matter what year it is.
I know they're good.
All of a sudden we have a new group rise to the top, and yeah, please be watching us. And Sid Otten is a wonderful coach and has a great body behind him. My most important thing, and I know you've got other callers, is I wish whatever the good stuff is they learn in their team sports, whether it's girls or boys, could carry over into their real lives to make them better people.
I think that's well said. Thank you, Carol.
You bet.
The reason I had to ask Carol whether she had some kind of a special animosity towards football, my little gal Michelle, I taught her when her mother is from Berlin, hates football, and so naturally, when Michelle was barely old enough to speak, once she learned was she 2 years old or 3 years old, I taught her, the first words I wanted her to be able to say was, I love football. And she'd say that, and I'd say, now go tell Mommy. But she was so young and she couldn't exactly say it right. Instead of coming out, I love football, it came out, I love boot ball. I brought her along very nicely, and that went on for a good long time. 152, 153, in fact, at King 1090. I guess I should have known the answer to this question. At the break, I asked Andrea, what made you read this story in the first place? I mean, why? It's unusual. It's in the sports page and all that. Why'd you even read it? Well, naturally, she says, well, it was the picture. Well, Andrea, what got you about the picture? Well, the guy with the dry heaves. We'd like to go into Andrea's past and find out. Andrea, what happened way back when that revolves around the dry heaves that causes you to have such a fixation on them and hold such terror? Ruth Ann in Snohomish, you're on King 1090.
Well, hello, Rick.
Yes, Ruth Ann.
Well, I agree with Andrea that most women could not take that kind of punishment.
Yeah.
I agree with Lois that the physical aspect of it builds some psychological maturity.
Yeah.
I think it's the verbal bashing that pushes people over the edge. And if I were a woman, I am a woman. If I were in that situation and I were being pushed and I had the dry heaves and then somebody started verbally bashing me,
yeah,
I'd fear for their life. I might go find something and I might hurt that person.
Well, isn't this wonderful? See, because that's what happens. This is what's illustrated in this article, but it's what happens on every football field in America. And you do it to guys, but you don't do it to girls. And now we have women saying that they would revolt.
I think I would, yeah. And I think that the same thing happens in the military from what I've heard from other people.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have looked upon myself as a fairly tough individual because I grew up in a family where you got punched in the shoulder, that meant you were loved.
Yeah.
But I know that in that family situation that it was the verbal bashing that always pushed any one of us over the edge.
Do you think that's a female characteristic?
Well, I suppose.
You do, huh? Well, that's a big difference then, right?
Yes, it is a big difference.
Between men and women.
I think it's there, yes. It's a big difference. Of course, our upbringing can push us to one side or the other.
Well, what are all these social engineering eggheads going to say who are trying to convince us that there's no difference between men and women?
Oh,
I mean, here you are saying that if you were being screamed at, you wouldn't be able to handle it. Andrea DeCou says we could not take being screamed at when dry heaves overcome us.
Well, they're going to be out of jobs. I mean, eventually people are going to stop listening to them. I mean, I already have, especially since having children.
Aren't you worried about these players becoming too soft? I mean, if you coddle these players, especially when they're having the dry heaves, they are liable not to be tough enough on the football field.
Well, I think that's a bunch of crap. I mean, you can push somebody to their limits without calling them a bunch of foul names.
You think you can?
Yes, I do.
I can hardly wait to discuss that. I disagree, Ruth Ann. I think that in football, you have to call them a bunch of names in order to motivate them.
Is that right? Well...
Great call, Ruth Ann. Thank you, young lady.
Bye.
Goodbye. I disagree with Ruth Ann. I think you've got to be abusive to boys on the football field. What do you think? 2 o'clock, King 1090. I'll be back. The show, 76 degrees with heaving sunshine. Dry heaves of sunshine at Boeing Field. Just having a little talk with Joe Fiala, our engineer. Joe says, you know, I take all the football practices that I ever went through. He says basic training in the Marine Corps is 10 times worse than any of it in high school. And we talked about that a little bit. I was in the Army, Joe was in the Marines, and I thought our basic training was, it wasn't pleasant or anything, but Joe came to the conclusion, and I think there's perfect application here to the training, the two-a-days that the Huskies are going through, and maybe football practices, high school and college throughout the land. The idea, the concept that when these football players come into the UW, or into the high school, or into the Marine Corps, or whatever, the first thing you do is strip them down completely so that none of them think they're hot shots. You want to bust them all. You want to break them. Not break their spirit so much, but you want to humble them so that you can build them and mold them into a team as they rise from this beating. And then there'll be a team that pull together, and there won't be any honchos, any tough guys, any big shots who were big high school stars or whatever and think they're still stars. And what they want to do is show them through this terrible, grueling 2-a-day workouts, that you're nothing. I don't care how many press clippings you got from high school, you're nothing. We're going to break you down just like everybody else, and we'll rebuild you. Now, that had the ring of truth to it to me, although I must say that I thought that might be a little dated, that the modern people weren't doing it that way anymore. They certainly were when Joe and I were going through all that stuff, but maybe not now. But then we talked about it some more, and maybe certain things never change, and that's one of them. And we also agreed that you would never subject a woman to that, and that the woman would never be able to take it. This constant browbeating and yelling and humbling of a person seems to be in the province of men and boys, not of females. A classic difference, perhaps, between men and women. Of course, then you have to ask yourself the question, if all of that is true that I have just said, and it well could be, what effect is that having on men, on boys as they become men, and their relationships with their friends, with their girlfriends, with their wives, with their children? Does that in some way desensitize them and brutalize them in some way, overt or subtle? Boy, I mean, it's really good stuff, isn't it? And we have this note here from Andrea. If the coaches were softer on players and allowed them to heave, would that create a team of babies? Isn't it wonderful the way women word some of these things? If the coaches were softer on players and allowed them to heave, would that create a team of babies? Well, Andrea, yes, I believe that it would. At 2:30, by the way, we'll keep this going throughout, but we're going to have a conversation about the movie Pat. We're going to talk to Doug Thomas at 2:30 about this movie that is opening today. I have never seen so much infamous publicity in my life. Every newspaper carried these big feature stories on Pat, the movie. This piece of junk produced for $7.5 million, which in this day and age is chump change. How in the heck did they get so much free publicity for such a questionable movie? I don't understand that. I mean, I really don't understand that at all. That's all designed to sell tickets. It's all, the people where it says Pat the movie, and then there's a bylined article in the PI, the Times, the Tacoma News Tribune, blah, blah, blah. Instead of having a writer with a byline, you know what it should say? By the releasing movie company, because it's nothing but a press release. That's all it is. It really sort of makes me angry, all that free publicity. Anyway, we're going to have some things to say about that movie as well today. Full plate, Rick. Too bad you blew that first hour on something that wasn't all that interesting, but then again, you know, by comparison, it makes this to be superb. Marion in a car phone, you're on King 1090.
Hi, Rick.
Yes, Marion.
Hey, I just wanted to give you an opinion of a semi-retired female athlete that has had the dry heaves more time than she can count.
All right.
And men and women are just motivated differently, and as far as coaching, you'll never find a successful female coach that likes coaching men, and you'll never find a successful male coach that is coaching female that can coach men, because men are motivated when they're yelled at, and women, you just can't yell at them. You need to give them a reason.
And we can state that as a universal truth.
From my experience, that's what I've seen.
I think you're absolutely correct.
But that doesn't make one a better athlete than the other. It just talks about the differences and how they're motivated.
And it doesn't make one better than the other?
No. No. But I don't think... What now?
Well, what do you think would happen if a coach of a boys' football team, or a man, or boys' football, were to allow... What if the coach became softer to the players, did not yell at them, did not humiliate them, did not belt them, or not beat them, but what if a coach was not so tough? Would that football team be any good?
I think it depends on the level.
On the what?
With little kids...
No, forget little kids. That's a whole different thing. I'm talking about high school and college. Yeah.
No.
because those guys have already been socialized that yelling and, hitting each other on the head and doing headbutts and chest butts and all that is a motivational thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're used to. But I also have to say one other thing is I saw that article in the Tacoma paper.
Yeah.
And I didn't even bother reading it because I grew up doing two-a-day workouts, and everyone I know grew up doing two-a-day workouts, so I don't think anything of them.
What was your sport?
Swimming, and then I did crew in college.
Oh, my gosh.
So, and those are two sports where you're just always doing two-a-days. So
What event in swimming?
I did the 200 free.
So, my gosh. Now, are you still in shape, Marion?
A lot of people think I'm in shape, but I'm not in as near as good a shape as I once was. That's why I'm semi-retired.
do you actually do any swimming workouts?
No, now I play co-ed soccer and do things like that. But
do you have big shoulders and upper arms?
Not like I used to, no.
Yeah, female swimmers seem to be huge in a very positive way. I'm talking.
Oh, I know.
I don't mean bulky, but extremely well developed through the shoulders.
Very muscular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good for you, Marion. I think that this is very interesting, especially when we have women who have been there clearly acknowledging clear differences between men and women.
Well, where I see it now is on these co-ed soccer teams, and, what gets the guys going is completely different than what gets the girls going.
Isn't it? Well, wouldn't it be wise then for these social engineers and assorted eggheads to get the message and finally admit, you know what, men and women are different and they have to be treated differently?
Yeah, but they need to also add to that different doesn't mean better or worse. It just means different.
Different.
Because they are different.
Couldn't agree more, Marion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm telling you, the show has turned out to be sensational. Rhiannon?
Yeah.
Rhiannon.
Hi.
Hi.
I'd just like to say that I'm 13 and I'm in Taekwondo, and I've been in Taekwondo since I'm in second grade.
Yes.
And I work out 4 days a week, an hour a day, and I work out with 250-pound men every day. And they don't, just because I'm a girl, they don't go easy on me because they know that I want to do it and I try hard.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a girl, a boy, or, it doesn't matter. What matters is it's in your head. It's all in your head. I wanted to be the best that I could be in Taekwondo, and that's why I work out with them, and that's why I try my best.
Now, Rhiannon, you're only 13 years old?
Yep.
How long have you been doing Taekwondo?
For about 7 years.
Oh, what level are you?
Black belt.
You're a black belt?
Yeah, I got my black belt about 3 weeks ago.
Why? Oh, this is wonderful. Why did you want to do that in the first place? Good Lord, wait a minute. You started when you were 6 years old.
Yeah.
Why did you want to do that?
I really don't remember why I wanted to when I was 6. The reason why I want to do it now is because it gives me a feeling like I can walk down the street right now and not be scared.
Yeah.
And I can. Also, it's a good exercise. It just keeps me confident and.
Yeah.